my blood pressure was not controlled. I was always in the hospital. It was so much time that I was in the hospital 3, 4 times a year that my family used to say, "Here goes Ida to another retreat." Because what happened was that my body became resistant to it, and it's like it lowered my blood pressure for a while, then it stopped working. Then I get chest pain, palpitations, migraines, and I end up in the hospital. And another pill and another pill. The thing is that I end up taking 19 pills a day. I was like, it seems like a drug addict. That's how many pills. 19 pills a day. I gained to 290 on weight, 90 something, 290 something. I went almost 300 pounds on weight. I was fatigued. I didn't have no energy. And all these years I'm working in the healthcare field. So I see the same thing that is happening to me, to my patients. Yes, our lives are getting prolonged. Our lifespan is prolonged. They saved my life. I'm alive still. But my quality of life sucked.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Carpe Diem Living the Podcast. I am your host, Shane Gitmed, and today we are with Ida coming all the way from the Orlando, Florida area. She was telling me that she lives 15 minutes away from Disney World, which is totally jealous of that. How are you doing today, Ida?
I am honored to be here and be able to share my passion with your audience. I love what you do, and I'm here to help you in anything that you want.
Thank you so much. And, you know, Ida has such an amazing background. I mean, we're talking about she's a holistic health practitioner and health coach with over 25 years as a registered MA and lab tech. So your health journey, there's so much there. So please tell us, you know, what led you here, your experience, and just your journey.
Yes, let me start from the very beginning. Since I was a little girl, I was always sick. I was a preemie baby. I have all kind of health issues. I suffer from asthma, eczema. I had a heart murmur. I was diagnosed with hypertension as a child. Okay, all kind of issues with my health. And, you know, I was going to the doctors in and out all the time, you know, various doctor's office. I needed braces in my legs also as well until I was 7 years old. That's when they remove it. So I was always in the healthcare field, you know, in and out. So I was lucky enough that everybody that treated me was so nice. So I fall in love with the profession. So since I was a kid, I always said I wanted to be either a nurse or a doctor. Every career day, that's what I dressed up. The thing was that as I grew up, you know, a lot of the things clear up, but one thing that never cleared up was my blood pressure, you know? And to jump, you know, when you're young, you don't take care of yourself like you're supposed to. You're a young adult, you're not taking care of like you're supposed to. And when I hit 31 years of age, I suffered a major stroke where all my left side was paralyzed. Okay, all my left side was paralyzed. After that stroke, you know, I was only in 3 medications. And, you know, when you're in the suffering stroke, they put you more medication. Through the years after that, I keep getting worse and worse. My blood pressure was not controlled. I was always in the hospital. It was so much time that I was in the hospital 3, 4 times a year that my family used to say, "Here goes Ida to another retreat." Because what happened was that my body became resistant to it. And it's like it lowered my blood pressure for a while, then it stopped working. Then I get chest pain, palpitations, migraines, and I end up in the hospital. And another pill and another pill. The thing is that I end up taking 19 pills a day. I was like, it seems like a drug addict. That's how many pills. 19 pills a day. I gained to 290 on weight, 90 something, 290 something. I went almost 300 pounds on weight. I was fatigued. I didn't have no energy. And all these years I'm working in the healthcare field. So I see the same thing that is happening to me, to my patients. Yes, our lives are getting prolonged. Our lifespan is prolonged. They saved my life. I'm alive still. But my quality of life sucked. You know what I mean? So then, you know, I became pregnant at 36 years of age. You know, my blood pressure was going crazy during the pregnancy. I spent most of the time in the hospital. The last 4 weeks I was hospitalized until they had to take a baby out at 31 weeks. After that, I suffered 4 TIAs, you know, which is small ischemic attacks, small strokes after that. And, you know, my health was worse and worse and worse and worse until my oldest daughter, because my kids are 15 years apart. My oldest daughter got married and she was having a baby. And when she was having a baby, you know, they asked her that because she was not dilated completely, they asked her to walk back and forth And every single time she had a contraction to squat. The key was that every single time that she squat, it's like she squat, the husband had to lift her up and lift me up too. Because I was so heavy, I couldn't lift myself, I didn't have the strength. And then at one point, she had a real big contraction. I fell down, and that was the embarrassing moment. That was the moment that said, that's it, this is not cannot continue. They had to rush her because she was giving birth. They had to leave me on the floor. Somebody else had to come and pick me up from the floor. I see my granddaughter being born. By that time, my son was 7 years old. He was very energetic, bouncing off the walls. Not ADD, but, bouncing off the walls. And I said to myself, I want to live and have the energy to enjoy my grandkid and my son. I want to be able to play ball when my son wants to play ball, or do karate when he wants to do karate, and do things and be alive to enjoy them. And that's what I decided. Something had to give, something had to change. And I started doing my own personal research into Ayurveda, natural medicine, functional medicine, Chinese medicine, all the modalities you can think of. I started studying it. As I started putting things to practice into my life and I see changes happening, I decided, no, I need to go to school. I'm really learned to it so I can create a protocol, and then I went to school. I created a protocol that I started to put to practice to me. As I put the protocol to practice, the first 3 months after I started doing the things the way I learned it, I lost 45 pounds. I went from the 19 pills to 3 pills. And right now I haven't been in a hospital in 10 years.
That is amazing. And, I see this all the time with everyone that's gone through, just their own health journeys, that once you hit a breaking point, you're just like, that is enough. I need to make a change. Like sometimes we just need that wake up call, and you have 2 choices. It's either you follow the path of, okay, I'm going to get better. I need to try something different, or you're going to continue to keep suffering. And that's why I love your message of how to become the CEO of your health and lifestyle, because you are taking control of the situation and just following what your gut is telling you to do.
Yes, because it's sad that we have to wait until we go through something difficult in order for us to make a change. But the key is, what I said to becoming the CEO is because before you can become a leader of anybody else, you need to become a leader of yourself. And if you can lead yourself, you cannot lead nobody else. Now, why is it that we leave all the responsibility of our healthcare to a person, when I'm talking about the doctor, okay, or the healthcare system, to a person that's going to see you only 15 minutes, maybe 30 if you're lucky, 3 to 4 times a year if you're lucky, when that person have 30 people before you, 30 people after you, a computer that you need to do all the coding, the pharma pushing them to prescribe medication, and the insurance controlling how they diagnose and how they do the protocols. Okay? How are you going to leave all the responsibility for that person to do it? When this is your body, it's your care, it's your health. That's why I always said the doctor is responsible of your sick care, but you are responsible of your health care. I'm not going to condemn medical. I'm not condemning our medical advances, because the medical is really good to rescue the body from injury and trauma or exacerbation of a disease. They do a great job to stabilize you. They do a great job to prolong your life. They do a great job to save you. The thing is that they don't know how to maintain your health. That's the key. So once the doctor stabilizes you, then it's your job, it's our job to stabilize ourselves. So that's why I said we need to become the CEO of our health. So how do I put this into, so you can understand it better? A CEO is the person that controls the company, that knows how every department works, that makes sure that the employees have the benefits and everything that they need in order for them to work, that their equipment is working correctly, so everything runs perfectly and the company can be productive and profitable. Okay? So imagine that this body, your body, like this one here is Idas Inc. This is your company, Idas Inc. Okay? Your company, Chains Inc. Okay? And your employees are your cells. Your equipment and machinery are your organs, okay? Your systems are your departments. And your nutrition and lifestyle is your human resources. So now, are you giving your employees the benefits? That means the nutrition and the tools that they need, the vitamins and nourishment and phytonutrients that they need so they can work properly? Are you making sure so that way they can make healthy tissues? So the healthy tissues can make healthy organs. Are you making that your organs are being maintained You know, they're getting their detox, their tune-ups, the oil change, you know, like you do in the car. Are you make sure you do that? Are you making sure that your departments, everything is working smoothly in your departments and that they can relate with one another, work together so that your whole company, which is your whole body, your whole life will work in unison and be profitable, vibrant, focused to fulfill whatever God intended for you to do in this world? That's the question.
Okay, can I just give you a slow clap? That was amazing, because that whole explanation, because I think for people, especially when it comes to health, people don't react until they feel things, right? Or when it's visible that something is wrong. But it's so true that the key is the maintenance on what you're doing day in and day out, what fuel you're putting into your body. When I compare the body, I've related to a car as well. Like, the fuel you put into your body, the quality is just as important, and the things that you put it through. The oil change, love that example. And I feel like as we describe the health in this way, it really does put people in that mindset of like, oh yeah, am I doing XYZ to make sure I'm on point with all of these things day in and day out? So that, beautiful. I love that example so much.
Because what happens is that medicine, what it does is that they are treating the symptom. Okay, you have a headache, they're going to give you an analgesic for the headache. Now the headache is gone. But whatever is causing that headache, whatever pathway, whatever is going on, whatever thing is stuck or is backed up or is not firing properly, whatever it is that is causing that headache, continue to create havoc. And you're not feeling. So when you feel it again, it's because something big is happening. Plus, the analgesic that they're giving you, the analgesic, what it does is stop certain pathways. When it stops certain pathways so you don't feel the pain, it's backing up other things. That's why you get side effects out of medication. Because they block one thing, to stop you from feeling something, but at the same time, they didn't go back and treat the root cause of the disease. So it is important for us to start by the cell first. Making sure that you give me, because if you make a healthy cell, then you're going to make a healthy tissue, and the healthy tissue is going to make healthy organs, and the healthy organs are what work healthy system. And when the systems are working correctly, you're going to make a healthy and happy and vibrant body. And that's what we want. So how do I become the CEO of my health? The first thing that you need to do, use the CEO as an acronym. Okay, and then C, you have to make the choice. You have to make the choice that you're going to take care of yourself. You make the choice that you're important enough, that you have purpose in this life, and that you need to be healthy, vibrant, and focused, and that you're going to do something about it. You have to make that decision. You don't make the decision, you're not going to do nothing about it.
It's okay? True. It's true. And some people will say, I'm doing it for my kids, I'm doing it for, my job. But in reality, you have to do it for you. Like, that is the bottom line. Like, and, I was once that way too, where I wasn't prioritizing myself. I put everyone else before me. I put family members, my pets, like, it was just insane. But just like that example, when you're in a plane and, say you have to put an oxygen mask on, who do you put it on first? Yourself or your partner or your kids? And, most moms will be like, oh, my kids, but that's wrong. You have to take care of you, because if you aren't, taking care of yourself, no one else is going to be able to benefit from that. So, I just love that it all comes down to like a bigger purpose. Like, what are you here to do? What exactly is your goal in this world? So it's true. You have to make your health such a priority so you can fulfill those things. There's no way around it.
It's like you said, like you were saying, if you don't put the mask yourself, if you put the mask yourself first, then you'll be able to help even more people. If you don't, you're going to asphyxiate by the first or the second person. So somebody in the family is going to be left out, or somebody else that you could help. The same thing happened with your health. You need to make that choice. When you make that choice, then you know that you have to start creating a system to put things to work. Now you go to letter E, you need to get educated, because you don't know how your body works. So you need to get to know how your body works, how your body functions, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what is your health history. Okay, not only what diseases have you had, but what is your parents' health history, the things that you can inherit so you know what to prevent. If you're already suffering from chronic conditions, are you logging in your blood pressure? You have diabetes, are you logging in your sugars? And are you charting what you're eating? So you know how things, you have to learn how your body works. That's the point that you decide whether I'm going to need to have a coach, or I can do it by myself, or I'm going to do my research to get to know the information, how my body works. And then the third thing that you do is the letter O, is to get organized. Now you make the decision already, okay? You already got empowered and know the information. You know what you have to do. Now you need to get organized. Okay, I need to clean my pantry, take all the garbage out, clean my refrigerator, take all the garbage out, take the people that are stressing you out and putting negativity in your brain, because everything that you think, okay, it goes to yourselves. So, you have to do big cleanup, detoxing, big cleanup, and when you organize.
Spring cleaning.
It's spring cleaning, and cleaning everything, and get organized, get into a system that's going to work for you. And noticing that we are individual, we are bio-individual. What works for somebody might not work with the other person. So that's why I don't believe too much into diets. I believe in you eating healthy that is properly for you. There's some general consistency when it comes to diet, but saying that everybody's good on a keto diet or everybody's good on a vegan diet or the paleo diet, no, I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way, but that's what you need to do. Now, in order for you to become that CEO of your health, okay, there's many things that you need to do. But there's three. I'm going to talk about three because we don't have the time to do all the 12 right now. But the three most important things that you need to do in order for you to become that CEO of your health. And the funny thing is that these things have to do a little bit also with your time. Because the first reason why the women especially say that they cannot take care of themselves because they don't have no time. Oh, I don't go to the gym because I don't have no time. I don't cook healthy because I don't have no time. Everything's I don't have no time. So this have to do with your time, okay? I am a firm believer of calendar and putting everything in my agenda and in my calendar. When I tell you putting everything, I even put the time I cook, the time that is to eat, because especially if you're a woman entrepreneur, and that's usually my niche, woman's entrepreneur, you are too busy with too many things. The many roles of womanhood at my age, most of the people that are around my age is in that sandwich generation, taking care of your parents, taking care of your teenagers, taking care of the grandkids, okay? And you don't make no time for yourself. So the way that you do it so you can become the CEO of your health and also your lifestyle is to be sure that you put everything in your calendar and block the time for that and honor it, okay? So the first thing that you need to do is your spirituality. Everybody always say, but why your spirituality? Because your spirituality is where you get life. You are alive because of the spirit of life. Okay? So your spirituality is going to tell you who you are. It's going to give you confidence. It's going to tell you where you're coming from. Knowing your creator or where you came from is going to let you know your value. It's like buying a dress from Macy's or buying a dress from Walmart. You know that when you buy a dress from Mercy, you know where it came from. So you might take that dress to the cleaners. You might put it in the back inside your closet, while the Walmart one might be in the floor or in the laundry room or a bunch of in the back or whatever. Because this is something that it's gonna get worn out in a few days. This one's not. So the same thing happened when you know where you're coming from. Now, in my case, because everybody had different spiritual beliefs, or in my case, I'm a Christian and I believe God is a king, and I'm a daughter of a king. I know that he's my source. So even I know that because of him, I have everything that I need in order for me to be successful. It's all inside of me. Okay. And if I can find it, I know I can go and ask him, because he said, ask and you shall receive. Okay. So I know that I can have that, to know who I am and to have that strength. And when you have that confidence, that's going to make you more successful and more healthier. Because also knowing who you are and having a vision in life and knowing that's going to make you happier, going to give you a positive attitude. So that's important. When it comes to your spirituality, there's things that you need to practice. Meditation is essential that you practice to reduce stress. Okay. Prayer or journaling is essential. Gratefulness journal. I do this, that is helping with the attitude. Every morning, I write 3 things that I am thankful for. Then at the end of the day, I write 3 things that happened that day that I'm thankful for. So no matter how awful my day was, I'm going to end up in a good note. So I can start the next day in a good note. Because it doesn't matter. You can have the horriblest day ever. You can find 3 things. If you're alive, you have a roof over your head, a food on your table, there's 3 things right there that you are thankful for.
I like that you added that at the end of the day, because a lot of people, you have your gratitude journal. I have one, and you have your list, but by doing it at the end, it kind of like makes it come three, like a full circle, right? Like I'm thankful, like in the morning, you could say, I'm thankful for waking up. I'm thankful for, having a roof over my head, etc. And then you could, so many things get thrown at us as women, as moms, entrepreneurs, everything under the sun. And then so at the end of the day, it's like a shift, like you're refocusing to like, aha, even though if today wasn't the greatest day, at least I still have all these things that I still, can appreciate.
Yes, that's specifically exactly. That's the way I feel. Another thing that you need to do is also start forgiving. Forgiving is very important. Let me tell you, people, when you forgive, that doesn't mean that the person doesn't have the responsibility, that it's not their fault, that you have to be best friend with that person or even have them in your life. No, that means that you're evicting them from your brain because they are renting a space in your brain, stopping your creativity, and stopping your peace, and stopping your attitude, and stopping your, your health. Do you know that they scientifically proven that people that do not forgive, the cells mutate into cancer cells? And I have an example. I work in an oncology office, and I had two ladies that have the same double negative breast cancer. One was in her late 30s. She was pretty healthy. That means that she didn't have any comorbidities. She didn't suffer anything else. She just had cancer. Then I had a 50-something-year-old lady that was diabetic, had COPD, and she also had hypertension, plus the cancer. Now, this lady that have all these diseases, she was always in a positive attitude. Her makeup was on point, doesn't matter what. She even created new hats for her hair. She was always happy and joking and jovial and all that. The other lady was mad at the world, okay? She couldn't forgive her husband. I guess her husband cheated on her, and she was angry about that. Okay, so she said that the stress that he put him through, that's what caused the cancer. So she was not going to forgive him, and blah 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 blah. The key was that she died within a year and a half. The same prognosis, okay, and she was healthier. And the other lady lasted 10 years.
Wow.
So unforgiveness is big. You need to forgive. It's for your own sake, for your own health, not for the other person. Stop renting space in your brain. You need that space for your creativity. You need that space for your legacy. You need that space for your purpose, for the love, to receive all the good things that the world have to offer. So that's you took care right there of your spirituality. And those things, let me tell you, you know how people say that I cannot function without having my coffee in the morning? I cannot function if I don't have my morning routine in the morning. I have an hour when I wake up and do anything else but that. I wake up, I do my prayer, I'm on my devotional, I read the word, okay? I do my meditation. Sometimes I walk and listen to worship music, and then is when I can start working. Before that, I cannot work. So it's already plugged in for the day in my thing. The next thing that you need to do is your self-care. Self-care, and I'm not talking about facials and mani-pedi. That's pampering yourself. But self-care about eating right and exercising, and make sure that you're resting your 8 hours a day. You want to make sure that you exercise. So every day, at least walk. If you can do nothing else, walk. Make sure that you walk your 10,000 steps every single day. I still go to the gym myself, but I do every day make sure that I walk my 10,000 steps. That counts from the moment that you step your feet into the floor, you put your pedometer or your phone next to you, and you count all your steps that you're doing. If you go into the store, park far. If you're in the office and you need to talk to your coworker, don't use the intercom, stand up and go over there so you can make your steps. Do all those things. And at the end of the day, if you haven't made the whole 10,000, like usually happen to me, I always have like 1,000, 2,000 that I haven't done. You see me running all over the house, or I put some salsa merengue because I'm Hispanic, my salsa merengue, and I start dancing until I get my 10,000. But you need to move, because the things that doesn't move, they putrefy. Okay? Another type of exercise that you need to do is exercise for your brain. You need to learn something new every single day. So you keep that memory moving. Do some Sudoku, puzzle, read a book, learn something new, a new language, whatever. Yeah, you need to do that. Listen to a podcast like this one. You have to do those things are going to help you, with the brain. And then when it comes to your rest, make sure that you're resting every 8 hours every day. 8 hours of sleep is essential, because when you sleep is where all the detoxing, metabolic processes, clear up of the cells is happening, and even weight loss happen when you sleep. So it's essential for us to sleep our 8 hours. It's also essential for us to have a break during the day, to have a day off every week, and to have a vacation every year. It's all essential for your health. Okay, so resting is important. And then the last thing is your eating. And to go simple, because we don't have enough time, just don't eat any crap. No crap, people. What that means, no carbonated drink. That means no sodas. Why no soda? Because sodas have a ton of sugar, and then a mixed concoction of chemicals that are going to increase toxins and inflammation in your body. And it's going to do no good.
It's acidic.
And it's acidic, making your body acidic. Plus, go and buy a cherry cola. Doesn't have no cherry. An orange soda. Doesn't have no orange. A grape soda. Doesn't have no grape. You just drinking a concoction of chemicals with tons of sugar. And even when you have it with sugar-free, you have another carcinogen added to it. Okay? Then the second thing is refined sugars. Why do you don't want refined sugars in your diet? Because sugar is necessary. Don't get me wrong, people. Sugar is necessary. The body needs the sugar in the cells, so the cells can make the ATP, which is the type of energy that the body uses. But the problem is not that. The problem is the amount of sugar that we're consuming. We're consuming too much sugar. Why are we consuming too much sugar? Because do you know that the food industry, okay, gave sugar over 70 names? So you don't recognize it. And they use sugar not only to sweeten the food. They use sugar to add bulk into the food. They use sugar as a preservative. They use sugar to give color to the food, okay? So there's, like, for example, Doritos. You might be a diabetic and you might say, okay, I can have Doritos because that's a salty snack. Okay, but Doritos have 3 types of sugar, plus it's a tortilla, that is a corn, that is a carbohydrate that will convert into sugar in your body. So you're eating 4 different types of sugars. So even the people that are saying that they're conservative sugar consumption might be eating more than what they think of because of this. Because they don't know. And remember, people, read labels. The labels, the food, the ingredient list is in order of amount. So the first ingredient is the most amount, the last ingredient, the least amount. If you buying something that's supposed to be rice and garlic, and you find rice and garlic in the middle, that means that they have a lot of other stuff, and maybe a little bit of garlic and rice. So you have to make sure that you remember also that those food are denatured and the nutrients are gone. So you really want to make sure that you understand about the consumption of your refined. Then the A is for artificial sugars, artificial colors, and artificial flavor. All that is a concoction of chemicals that your body doesn't need. Okay? And that is increasing your toxicity, your free radicals, your oxidation, and your acidity, resulting in chronic inflammation, resulting in a chronic disease. And the last thing is your processed food. What is processed food? Everything that is packaged and have a label, either frozen or in the other places. You know, what is that? They denature the food already. Most of the nutrients are gone. You're just eating food products. You're not eating nutrient-dense food. The key is for you to cook. So that's why I put that cooking time in my schedule. If you don't like to cook, do like I do. I go every Sunday. My routine Sundays is I go to church, we go to brunch, we go to the grocery store, we come home, I prep the food for the week. You want to be able to open that refrigerator or that pantry and find something nutritious and healthy that you can grab. So that's why you need to schedule.
I love that.
Okay. And the last thing that you need in order to become that CEO of your health is nurture your relationships. And that also needs to be put in your schedule. Why? Because people is the most stressful thing in your life. And also the thing that you love the most and you're more concerned. So it doesn't matter if you are successful, okay, and healthy if you don't have nobody to share it with. Okay? True. Doesn't matter if you're successful, but your kids are lost, your daughter is pregnant, your son's in drugs, and your husband, you don't know where he's with because you don't spend no time. So it's essential for you to schedule the date night. It's essential that you schedule time for my children, time as a family, to schedule the call to my mama. What happened if you so busy with your life that you don't notice and your mama dropped dead and you didn't even spend any time with your mama? You know, so you need to schedule those things. When you schedule those 3 things, your spirituality, your self-care, and your relationship, you're going to find out that you're going to have the confidence and a positive attitude from the spirituality. You're going to have the strength and the focus from your self-care. And then you're going to have the peace of mind because your family and everybody's doing great.
I gotta say, Ida, you're so well-rounded, and I love that because that's how I view just like how I try to run my life as well. Is like I want to have everything mapped out, well balanced. That way, every single thing is tended to. That way, you're not lacking in any department of your life. Like when you mentioned, spending time with family is like my number one, right? And that's one of the reasons why I moved back closer to home, because I was away for so many years, living life, in different cities, different states. And when I returned back to California, it was my priority that I needed to be back locally with my family and my friends. And now I see my parents practically every day, and they love their grandchild, my son. So it's great that we have all this time. And, even with COVID, things are getting better. So it's like, you can spend that time with friends. So it is so true. Like, people need people, and it's true. Like, what's the point of having all this success or whatever, if you don't have people to share it with? And that's why some of the most richest people in the world are lonely, because they don't have, any a support system. Yeah.
Also, you need to know how to nurture those relationships. You need to know that when it comes to your family and when it comes to your wife, husband, and children, the things that you can do is you can do assessment, like the love assessment. So, you learn how they love and how they receive love, so that you can be their this assessment. So, their personality. So that way you can agree more with them and know how to handle your children, for example, because the way that you talk to a 5-year-old is not the same way when they turn teenager or when you have an adult child, so those are things that you can do in order to nurture. For example, I have a lot of clients that when I tell you that they have to schedule day night, they say, oh, but I love when my husband is spontaneous. I understand that you love when your husband when he's spontaneous, but if you don't schedule that date night, what's going to happen is you both are going to get too busy and not going to get the date night. But if you schedule the date night, okay, you are sure that you nurture that relationship, and then he can do something spontaneous some other day, or he don't have to tell you what he got planned for that day. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, because it's so simple to just be like, hey, when are you free? Because just like you and I, like when it comes to our calendar, we follow that, right? Like we take that, we honor it, and we follow through. So by putting that there, it's so that nothing's ever going to take over that time slot. It shows that you're prioritizing, that relationship, and you are purposely trying to nurture it. So I just think overall it's so important, because life gets so busy. There's friends that if you don't schedule something with them, before you know it, you haven't seen them in 4 months.
Exactly. The thing is that you want to create that schedule and everything, so you can create boundaries also. Because I don't know about you, but at the beginning of my life, I was a people pleaser. The people pleaser, what happens is that you never say no, so you don't have no boundaries. But now, because you have it, and then you feel bad because I'm an empath, so I feel bad saying no. Okay, so now that I have a schedule and I have block, I can say, and I feel confident that I can tell. Well, I cannot at that time because I have something to do, because I really have a plug in there, something to do. It's not that I don't want to help them out. You know what I'm saying? So that also help you create those boundaries. And the thing is that because you are taking care of yourself and your spirituality, your relationships, and yourself, now you're going to have the energy, like I told you before, and you're going to be able to accomplish anything else that you want to do in less time, more efficiently, because you are alert, you are focused, you are healthy. You're going to be able to get into that zone, and accomplish a lot more than if you took the whole day. So that's more important. But now some people say, but oh, this is so hard. I don't know how to balance my life. And I said to them, listen, balance does not exist. You cannot say, I'm going to spend 2 hours with my son, 2 hours with my husband, 2 hours with my work, 2 hours with my care, 2 hours with my cooking, 2 hours with the grocery. That's not going to happen. You need to learn how to harmonize. For example, harmonize. Day night. Let's say I make Sundays day night. Okay, so I need to go home and cook. Okay, honey, let's have fun in the kitchen. We can have fun in the kitchen. Can be lovely. And we're getting the dinner, the food done for the week at the same time. And we spending time together. Or let's say I want to leave legacy for my son, that's, for life, but I also want to spend time with him. And I want to leave legacy for myself as well. Okay, so let's go and feed the homeless, and I take my son with me. He's having some quality time with my son. At the same time, he's getting that legacy and I'm getting that legacy. So you need to learn how to harmonize. So I learned a tip from my own business coach, because every coach needs a coach, okay? So for my business coach, and she used this statement that is a smart woman live on routine habits. Now, the first letter of every word is something. It's like the S from smart is self-care. The W for woman is wealth. The L for life is legacy. The O is outreach. The R is relationship. And the H is health. So every Sunday, I put something important that I need to do for my self-care, something important that I have to do for my wealth, something important that I have to do for my legacy, something important that I have to do for my outreach, my relationship, and my health. And I have a whole week to accomplish. That way I know I touch every area and didn't overwhelm myself with 20 things in every area. Okay, so for example, let me say, okay, for my self-care. Okay, for my self-care, that day, I'm gonna make sure that I can do some dry brushing because I need my circulation to go thing, and I might do a facial because my skin is dry. Okay. For my wealth, I have to take care of my social media marketing. Okay. For my legacy, I am writing a chapter on the book that I'm trying to publish. For my outreach, I help. I volunteer in a group for teen moms, so I'm going to be volunteering for the group for the teen moms. For my relationship. Okay, this week is Mother's Day, so I'm going to spend time with my mom. And for my health, I'm going to make sure that I do my 10,000 steps and I go to the gym 3 times this week.
My gosh.
You do that every Sunday. And, and then you can, like I said, you can do things one or another. Because, for example, my husband loves facials and things like that. So me and him together do that and spend some time together and do the facials together. And then, when I do the thing for the pregnant women, it's at my son's high school. So I get to spend time with him when I'm there as well, And then for my exercise, I always go with my husband to the gym. So I spend time, you see, you are harmonizing. It's like, let's say, for example, for the wealth, let's say I'm preparing myself for a masterclass and I have some handouts that need to be stapled. And I want to spend time with my daughter. Okay, baby, come here. Let's talk. Let's have a deep conversation while you staple this. And these are mindless tasks that doesn't need that much, but need to be done anyway. But at the same time, you are taking care of, of your family. So you need to learn how to harmonize that. That's what I do. What I pray by week every week on Sundays.
Okay, seriously, you are my kind of gal. I swear, like everything you're saying, I just love so much and I can relate so much. Like, I wish we lived closer because I do a lot of nonprofit volunteer work, I self-care, like I put a lot of emphasis on that. Like everything you touched on, I'm like, yes, like everything I agree with. So I just love your energy, your vibe and everything you're doing to contribute to, our world. And you're just such a bright light. So I just love your work. So thank you so much for everything you've shared. Is there anywhere that you'd like to tell our audience, like where they can find you online, how they can see what you're up to? Because I'm sure there's so many other people out there that just want to hear from you.
Yes. Well, I always send everybody to my group because that's the best way to find me. And there, I always put tips. I do the Biohacking Tuesday show there as well. And I have a masterclass coming up also well. But my group is called Biohacking Tools for an Everlasting Health. Biohacking Tools for an Everlasting Health. And right now, for the 26th of May, I'm going to have a masterclass that is called Discovering and Addressing the Root Cause of Disease. Discovering and addressing the root cause of disease at the cell level. In that class, people are going to learn what are the root cause of disease and how can you naturally reduce them so that you can reduce, and either if you suffer already for a chronic condition, you can control and even reverse some of the chronic condition by addressing the root cause of disease.
Yes, that's amazing because, I am definitely a person that has reversed a lot of things. So I can attest to that this is such important information. So I hope everyone checks out your work, joins your groups and everything that you're doing. So thank you so much again, Ida, for your amazing, advice and everything that you brought onto the show. Such valuable information. So thank you all again for tuning in and we'll catch you on next time. Thank you so much.